So I'm here today to present Clifton Hill Primary School, which is in Clifton Hill, and it's on Wurundjeri country, and we respect elders past, present and emerging. Clifton Hill Primary School is a new multi-level vertical campus for Clifton Hill Primary. It houses years 5 and 6, and it came about after an extensive A&P process with the VSBA, which really determined they needed at least a minimum of 10 more classes on the site. The VSBA brought this site, which is quite a public civic site, across the road from their existing primary campus, and they have a second campus at the organ factory, so it's one of these organic inner city campuses. That on the site currently was a 1980s housing development with what we felt were some beautiful trees, but an arborist assessment determined that they were pretty much at the end of life and there was a risk of limbs falling on kids. So the VSBA risk assessment crew said, trees have got to go, much to our disappointment, but yeah, we fought long and hard about that. The school itself has had sort of organic growth, starting with a beautiful 1860s heritage building, and then different generations of alterations and additions. Some are quite bland, but it's really cramped and in many cases spaces that are not really fit for purpose. So what was the design response? First, it was about recognising the urban interface of the corner and recognising there was a different condition for a school. And we wanted to think about how we brought the students in, engage with the street, and really ran a street through the campus and out to outdoor play spaces. It was then about stacking the programs. There's a small site with a large programmatic requirement. So it was about simple repetitive forms and using the staircases as vertical streets at the north and south and a common area corridor connecting the two. The classrooms themselves offered flexible and adaptable teaching opportunities, both from traditional classrooms through to collapsible spaces where two classrooms could be combined. And all combined, culminated on an active rooftop with a goal with solar panels on it, generating energy consumption. And this was all wrapped up in a brick facade that really gave the building presence and engagement back to its street. Some plans very quickly: the new campus, the ground floor with the brick street running through it, multi-purpose space and admin facilities. Typical floor plate with the classrooms, 5 classrooms per floor, and you could see the coming together of the corridor with lockers, etc. in the middle of the space. And then this quite dynamic roof play space on the top with quite a fun super graphic and a pergola providing shade. Some facade stories, more about the facade later, and a typical section of the building showing our 2 primary means of circulation. Sustainability, though, was at the core of this project, and this is a pilot passive house project for the VSBA. We've done quite a few passive house projects, and we argued long and hard with the VSBA that given the quantum of work that they're doing, they could actually make some real change in energy consumption through how they're building their buildings. Of course, it has things like solar panels, as I suggested, simple repetitive windows with shade on them. But it also integrated CLT concrete hybrid structure, so we're trying to minimise carbon throughout the building as much as possible. But a lot of it is really about the high-performing thermal envelope that we designed and detailed to facilitate passive house with low energy air exchange. And we are, I think, on the verge of receiving that passive house certificate. A lot of modelling work had to be done to sort of substantiate why passive house was a good idea for this project, and early modelling by Grun, who became Inhabit, suggested that there would be at least a 60% less energy consumption compared to a deemed to satisfy building, as well as 60% less carbon emissions compared to a standard building. And translating that into some metrics, some early analysis of costs was a $40,000 a year power bill might reduce to somewhere between $4,000 to $8,000 a year. So really appealing numbers for the VSBA and the school themselves. So a lot of modelling was done before the decision was determined to go there. Some construction shots of the primary concrete frame, the CLT panels that span between the concrete frame from the middle, the pergola for the solar panels on the roof, and some of the brickwork construction. But it was also about a building that was grounded in place, and how could we talk to both the beautiful polychromatic brickwork of the existing building, but also the residences and the terrace houses in the street. But not only was it about a contextual response, it was about a whimsical response, and we overlaid the idea of the hungry caterpillar onto the facade, and the glazed bricks sort of wind their way through the facade and takes nibbles out the lower ground floor to provide really beautiful, playful spaces for the kids to rest and play. So onto the building as it's experienced from the round, from the Darling Gardens to the north. Three-quarter view showing north and western facade, and you can see how actively it's engaging a street which is very, very busy with bike path and a lot of passers-by. An undercroft space for the kids to collect before school starts, where those holes become so powerful. Looking at the building from the outside in, but also thinking about how it relates back to the suburb from the inside out, from those play spaces. Coming inside, we kept the brickwork running through as that street, and we start the journey up the staircase. Multi-purpose hall with great views onto the Darling Gardens. This can also be rented out to the community, so it was located in a way that it had a very public presence, a waiting space by reception. Coming upstairs, a linoleum floor, very simple finishes, trying to keep the palette soft and reductive, but incredibly warm. And we really wanted to leverage off the biophilic qualities of the timber, creating a warm environment. A very honest building, exposing its services, letting that be part of the story and the learning for the kids as well. Lockers and breakout space, little meeting rooms, and looking through this corridor to the southern part of the building and the circulation. 2 minutes, yep, going up. I'm nearly done, so that's quite good. What have I forgotten? Thinking about the classrooms, bringing this soft, gentle palette internally, lots of acoustic lightings and pin boards, greens to reflect the greenery of the gardens. This is the 3 classrooms, 3 spaces combined, starting to sequester it off and really show the variations in teaching modes that are possible. And up onto the roof, where the solar panels themselves become the shade for the pergola, again showing the kids what the building's actually actively doing in terms of its energy consumption and generation. Tumbling back down the staircase and back down to the ground floor. With stained plywood panel and seating areas. But I mentioned the outside, and it is about the fringes and how we engage on the fringe as well, where some of the really fun and whimsical, playful life of the building starts to generate. And then zooming back out to Gold Street and an elevation of our simple, controlled, but yet playful new building for Clifton Hill Primary. That is it.